So yeah, I've got a copy of the letter, but it's just not very good. It unfortunately got rained on a little bit, and that's why I wanted a nice mint condition one, which I was going to take to the Ombudsman, because you guys decided to treat me so badly. But, well, not you personally, obviously, mate, you've been very good. Okay, so I've got here, this was the original very tattered envelope, which you can see, which I was given, which says to be given in hand. And you can see here there's a letter on the front with your staff's handwriting on it there. That says Data Protection Officer, Metro Bank. That was because I had to put in a subject access request with your team in Bath, because they wouldn't give me the details of the account that was opened fraudulently in my name, or the fraud investigation which they claim was taking place, and the account that had been closed for those reasons. So I got this letter, and as you can see, that's dated the 4th of December. Can you see that there, Jordan?
Yeah.
Yep. And this letter there, that post-it note was put on just by your mate, sat at that desk just over there. And when I got this letter, as you can see here, it says here that was the name of the lady that I spoke with, Amy Lee, and the other person was called Sophia, who I came in and spoke with a couple of days later. Both of those girls tried to claim, first of all, Amy Lee invited me to open an account and said she could resolve the complaint in branch. But unfortunately, when we spoke for about an hour, and she then claimed that there was nobody in charge that could make a decision. When I came back and tried to speak again with Sophia, she also tried to pull the same card. Now, like I said to you, mate Cole, I kind of bought it the first time. You know, she tried to say there was no one at the helm in a bank, you know, in a multi-billion pound organisation where you can deal with customer service complaints in branch, and quite serious ones relative to fraud and my own personal security. I'm sure you can understand it wasn't only a service complaint, it was also relative to my own personal safety and my financial security. Anyway, both of those girls said that there was no one in charge, there was nothing they could do. Once I would have bought it, second time I didn't really think that was right. You know, saying, I'm sorry, nothing I can do, there's no one in charge here, and there's no one I can phone. You know, obviously if someone's having a day off, which is what she claimed, you'd think there was somebody in branch. Anyway, Jordan, this was the letter. It's not that bad, like it's not, you know, terrible, but I just wanted like a mint condition copy that I could send to your mates. But yeah, as you can see, this has got all the details on it, and you can see there it's dated the 4th of December. And that's the reference Charlie Alpha Sierra 399539, Violet 3 Romeo 6 Golf 4. Do these both match up? And your mate has given me a letter here which says the 2nd of December. The thing is, funnily enough, my 8 weeks with the Ombudsman expire in 48 hours, and it looks very much like what your staff have tried to do there is purposefully write the date so that rules me out of my Ombudsman rights.
So what I've got at the moment is just like this letter. This is what I've been given to.
Yeah, for sure, mate. But what I'm trying to put it to you is that all I wanted was a mint condition of this letter, basically, that was, you know, that wasn't tatty like this one. That's all I was really asking for, buddy. But the reason I'm doing it today is because 4th of December, by Wednesday, the 8 weeks that you've got to go to the Ombudsman expire. And what your mate's done there is extremely out of order. Is purposefully miswrite the date on there so that I haven't got the rights to go to the Ombudsman.
Okay.
I'm going to assume that it's got the same details in there and that nothing else has been misrepresented in that letter either, Jordan. And he's just accidentally on purpose got the date wrong there. This one was signed by Ashlyn Kane, or there's a little squiggle on there. I don't know if that's counts as a signature, but that's fine. I guess that's not printed, is it? Is that actually a biro? Yeah, that is actually biro, so that's fine. That's a wet signature, so I'll let him slide for that one. So it looks like the letter's right, but he's just accidentally on purpose put the date wrong, so that there's no way I can go to the Financial Ombudsman.
Okay.
Which is really kind of him.
That's what I've been given at the moment.
Okay,
that's
mate.
As much as I know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I appreciate it. I was just asking for a copy of that final response letter. The other thing I asked for, Jordan, while I was in branch the other day, mate, was a copy of the details of my subject access request. I did put that in, and that's also been ignored. As I said, you know, these people opened up bank accounts in my name, and they did that online. They might have put money in and out of those bank accounts. They refused me access to the bank statements. They refused me access to the information that was used to get the account. So that might have been photo ID, Jordan. That might have been phone numbers. That might have been email addresses that have been set up in my name, or for all I know, my real phone number and my real email address. So if I wanted to change any of those, update my identification so these guys can't carry on defrauding me, I've got no way of doing that, because you guys wouldn't reference the fraud investigation you were taking place. You wouldn't give me any information so that I could go to the police. And now what you're doing is you've purposefully misrepresented the details. So you've put that it's the 4th of December. was the date the letter was produced, but you've backdated it 2 days to try and stop me from going to the Ombudsman, which is serious criminal misconduct. That's not, unfortunately, that's not the sort of error, you know, if you accidentally leave the keys to the safe on the side, you know, you could argue that's an accident, but if the safe happens to contain, you know, £500 million, then you might find that that's, you know, criminal negligence rather than carelessness. Do you know what I mean? I don't think anybody, I mean, this, like I said, this has got a wet signature and a whole bunch of information on there. So that's certainly something which is relevant to me. So you're saying that there's no one, so the SAR has just been completely ignored, and
So all I've got in it is this.
yeah, for sure. I mean, the guys in Bath should have emailed it over to you, dude. If they haven't, that's their fault. It's not your fault. You know, you've been totally polite, and I really appreciate your help, dude. But in the most immediate sense, what I'm kind of getting at is that not only is this taking the piss, it's actually a crime. You know, trying to absolve yourself from criminal responsibility when what these guys have done, you know, they've censored criminal activity. They've refused to give information which could be submittable in a court of law and a prosecution. It's something called perverting the course of justice. So if you find like a murder weapon and you throw it in the bin and they find out you've done that, then that's perverting the course of justice. So the evidence you've given me could have been linked to potentially armed and dangerous criminals, and are linked to a crime which you've verified has taken place, and I have also. And what you're doing by not giving me that evidence and then giving me a letter telling me to go and refer that to an ombudsman service, an external regulatory authority, without having the ability to be able to do that, what they've done there is completely out of order, dude. So you can see, you know, this is the letter. This is your mate. I think this is this gentleman here. In actual fact, I came over here. Hello, buds. I came and asked to open up a current account, which Amy Lee invited me to. The decision was made not to offer that at the time. I left that amicably with your colleague here, and this is his handwriting. You can see on this envelope, on this post-it note, and this is definitely the letter. I just wanted one that wasn't tatty. That's all. You know, that was all I was after, mate. So, is there any chance I can get a copy of this letter with the right date on it?
I don't know if I'd be able to amend it in sort of written up letter.
Okay. Well, I'll just put that to them, mate, because there's definitely no way that I've, you know, all these details are on there, and what you guys did was totally unacceptable. But you know, it wasn't you; it was the guys in Bath. Which they said it was a procedural fault. You know, they said the computer said we can't give you bank statements. The computer said we can't give you account application details. And I sort of, you know, thought that was all right. And then they said, and if you want them, you're going to have to apply for an SAR in writing. So what they've done, Jordan, is not only censor that detail, so I can't go to the police. Then they've also ignored my complaint. Then they've also fraudulently maladministered a letter so that I can't get that complaint regulated. And then they've also not responded to my subject access request, which means that the Information Commissioner's Office and the Financial Ombudsman is unable to do anything about it. Well, I mean, I can go to the Information Commissioner's Office. If I go to the ICO, you guys would get a massive fine. I've got the receipt, which was signed by your mates and emailed over to them as well, to show that I put in a subject access request, which I shouldn't have had to do. Do you know what I mean? If someone steals your financial information and applies for a bank account in your name, what should happen is that the bank investigates that, reports it to the authorities, you know, as well as aggregating the data, you know, with you know, the fraud referencing agencies, you know, the Fraud Intelligence Bureau, Action Fraud, you know, criminal investigation should be launched, and they should also give the customer the ability to be able to carry out an independent investigation, and also, you know, corroborate that, you know, someone might have broken into my house and there might be a shoe or some other evidence. Do you know what I mean? If I went to the police and said, look, someone's burgled my house, I found this piece of physical evidence and they've stolen, you know, I can see someone's routed through and they've stolen these details, for instance. Do you know what I mean? Having the details of the email address, the IP address, maybe, you know, the dates, the times, phone numbers, all that sort of information you guys haven't given me has meant that you've protected the criminals, you've ignored my complaint, and now I've put in a request in writing and you haven't given me the information for that. So, I don't really know what to do about that, mate. I appreciate that, you know, all you've done is ask Bath for the details, and what they've done is given me a bullshit letter, which is going to give me no rights at all. I did actually get told that somebody was being violently sexually assaulted on the premises while I was here. I mean, I don't know whether to believe that. It was literally some homeless guy on the street who just said, "When you were at the bank, mate, they were just getting done over in the back." And I didn't really know what to make of that. But I did hear like someone sort of a weird yelping noise coming from out the back when I was in the branch. And you know, this might sound absurd, Jordan, but like I have had some quite strange experiences in the last few months with some financial lenders and somebody who unfortunately had some quite bad malintent towards me. So, I mean, I think, can you just double check that there's no mistakes on there? That someone's not made a mistake and it isn't actually the 4th of December. If you could do that, I think that, because if it does transpire that somebody's just made a bit of a mistake, do you know what I mean? And actually they just put a 2 instead of a 4, that might give me 48 hours to be able to go to the financial ombudsman and get them to regulate this. But in the event that hasn't happened, then obviously we're going to be in a slightly difficult situation, and I don't really want to have to, call it criminal negligence. But in the eyes of the law, mate, unfortunately, do you know what I mean? If you cover up evidence admissible in a court of law in a prosecution case, that's perverting the course of justice. If you're an accessory to fraud, then that's one thing. And unfortunately, there is, people who have been abducted, and there is various records of assault and very high value fraud, which are relative to the criminals who've been involved in this. And that's kind of like a smoking gun, do you know what I mean? That looks very much to me like somebody's trying to censor any of the complaint or details of the account application or the account being closed down, rather than being open and honest like a bank should be, do you know what I mean? Can you see if there's a mistake there, mate, or is that...
I'm just going to have a look into it, see what I can...
So you can't just get them to email me the details, or can you just forward them to my email address for me, the email that you've got?